Hello and welcome. My name is Casey Miller, the CEO and founder of Thriving On. If you're watching this video, it is because you want to learn how to create your own meal plans. Now, this is a past recording that we did with a bunch of people, teaching them how to take their current nutrition goals and learn how many meals that they need to be eating, what food that they need to be putting on the plate, and how much, and how to create that into a grocery list and a meal plan that they can use for the rest of the week to make this whole process a lot simpler, save you a lot of time, money, and effort in the long run. Now, the intention of this workshop is to be a rough draft to a course that we're coming out with later on. It's going to go in so much more depth than this 30-minute video. It'll even teach you how to create your own nutrition goals for you if you don't have that just yet. Now, keep an eye out for that. And if you have any questions based off of this video, our contact information is going to be below. Enjoy. Welcome to the Meal Planning Made Simple workshop. We're going to just go through a few things before we get into it. First off, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Casey Miller. Been in the fitness industry for over 10 years now. What I do for a living is I'm the CEO and founder of Thriving On. I'm one of the coaches as well as Toby. He's also a coach on staff. He's the functional nutritionist. And Rachel, his wife, is our director of operations, aka boss lady. But we're an epic team that runs Thriving On. And we love what we do every single day, helping people become the CEO of your health. Some things about me and my credentials: in the fitness industry for over 10 years, was a speaker at 2023 Coaching Con live event. I'm a former Division I athlete. I have my CrossFit level 1 and 2 certification. I also have the gymnastics certification, the weightlifting certification, and I was a CrossFit weightlifting intern for some time. I also have my USAW level 1, a retired nationally and internationally competitive weightlifter in 4 different weight classes, NCI level 1 and 2 certifications, hormone specialist, mindset specialist, precision nutrition level 1, and then also the CEO and founder of Thriving On. So just a little bit about me, why you're even listening to me. I think it's important to learn if somebody has their credentials to actually speak about fitness and nutrition. Always advocate for yourself and make sure that you're talking to a credible resource. What we're going to dive into is, why should we be meal planning in the first place? When you look at studies, people who meal plan tend to eat healthier. If we have a system, we have things on hand, we don't leave room for chance, we're not waiting for the last minute, right? If we're prepared, we're more likely to be more consistent at those things. We're less likely to go get takeout instead of eating a meal at home. But also studies show that it's easier for you to manage your weight, be leaner, be healthier over a period of time. And it's because when you're planning your own meals, it is easier for you to do portion control. When you're eating out, it's very hard to do that. It's very hard to understand portion control. A lot of people are just getting started and don't really know how to track things. And it's a little bit harder versus being able to control your circumstances just a little bit more. I'm not saying that you never go out to eat. That would be miserable. But if you do it more consistently, it makes sense that you're going to be able to manage your weight, become leaner, be healthier over a period of time. I know that a lot of people actually say, hey, eating healthy, right? Grocery shopping, things like that is more expensive. But actually, it's not for most people in most circumstances. Because when we don't have a plan, how many of you guys, totally guilty of this, you can already tell. How many of you guys are guilty of going to stores and you have kind of a list, or not really? You're just walking around. You're like, ooh, this looks good. Ooh, this looks good. Oh my gosh, this is new. I want to buy this. I don't really need this, but I'm going to get this. Every single time somebody goes to Costco, Target, Trader Joe's, like all the different places that we love to go that just really great marketing, they get us, we get it all. And we spend more than we actually need, or you buy things that we don't actually need and now they go bad. When we come up with a game plan of what we need ahead of time, we have a meal plan, we have a set structure that allows us to be very efficient with what we're buying, how much, make sure that we reduce waste. But also what it does is also reduces a lot of stress too. You save actually a lot of time. When you're meal planning, you know exactly what you need to be eating. There's a lot less brain power. You sit down for a little bit of time, figure it out, get your groceries, make the food, and that's it. The rest of the week, you don't really have to cook. You don't have to really clean. Unless that's something that you really enjoy, then go for it. But if that's something that you're looking to save on, it's awesome. The other thing is that when you meal plan, you know exactly what you need to be eating. You know exactly that you're hitting your goals. You get a peace of mind. When you don't have a game plan, you feel very overwhelmed. I remember somebody saying earlier, I feel very overwhelmed with things. Something that I learned previously from a coach is that there's no such thing as feeling overwhelmed. There's just lack of clarity. It's one of the reasons why people love like one-off meal plans, is because it tells you exactly what you need to be doing. The exact amount tells you right there. Unfortunately, meal plans given to you aren't necessarily sustainable long term, but it's understandable that a lot of people like it because it just takes a lot of brain power. But if you learn how to do your own meal planning, it takes out the feeling overwhelmed because you know exactly what to do. You do it yourself too. Now you're CEO of your health because you can do it yourself. So the next thing that we're going to go into is just important things to keep in mind. Let's get our minds right on this. The first one is think of meal planning like budgeting. Okay. We budget because we want financial freedom. It's responsible. Sometimes we don't want to do it. Sometimes we don't want to say no to things. Sometimes we want to go on Amazon or go shopping. But sometimes we have to put our big girl and big boy pants on and get things done because we got a bigger goal. And it's the same thing with meal planning. Right? We have a goal of being the CEO of our health, feeling great, being the best person for our family and friends, achieving our fitness goals too, feeling more confident, being healthier and living a long, healthy life. Those are huge goals. I would say just as important as financial freedom, making sure that you're secure for the rest of your life. So when we start thinking about budgeting, right, and start taking that type of perspective and applying it to meal planning, now we're going to start treating meal planning like budgeting, and we're going to be more consistent at it. If you want to become a more consistent person, you need to start thinking like a consistent person. Most people are already consistent in other things in life. So think to yourself, what do I do already when it comes to like budgeting or other things that you're very consistent at that works for me? Then I just take those same skill sets and apply to the thing that I want to get more consistent at, like budgeting. It's responsible if that is our big goal. The next thing to take in consideration is that to get results that stick, you need these three things. You need independence and autonomy, personalized and flexible approach, and an identity shift, okay? There was this big study that took about thousands of other studies together to show what is the commonality amongst people that are able to see results and keep it for a long period of time, over 3 years, okay? Which, by the way, the study showed that about 85 to 95% of people that go in to create change in their life are unable to maintain it after 3 years. Only about 5 to 15% of people are actually able to keep it for life. And they looked at the differences between the people that weren't successful and the people that were. And there was multiple different commonalities, but the big things that stood out is one, they had the independence and autonomy. They didn't have this mindset of a timeline. This is what I'm going to do, and then I'm done, right? They're making sure that they have the tools that they need to be able to do this for life. The next thing is in order for them to be able to do this for life, it needs to be personalized to them. They also need a flexible approach. It's one of the reasons why giving somebody a meal plan doesn't work, because it's not personalized to them. A lot of times the meal plans that you get online is like, hey, this is what I do, so you go ahead and do it. Or it's a template that is given to thousands of people in a cookie cutter approach. It's not personalized to you. You have your own body, your preferences, your goals, your lifestyle, everything. So that's why being able to create your own meal plan is essential for long-term success. But you also need a flexible approach. What happens when you're busy or you're sick or you're stressed? You need to be able to be flexible and adaptable. And then the other thing that we need to do is make sure that this is an identity shift. This is not something that you're doing for a little bit of time. This is the new person. I am that person that prepares my meals. I am that person that spends these times during the week to do this. I am this person that believes I'm able to do this long term. You got to be able to kill off that old person and become a new person to be able to make this stick. So as you're going through that, remember the lens. Are we making the identity shift? Am I in a mindset where I want to be able to personalize and have a flexible approach? And am I willing to create that independence and autonomy? If you are, you're going to be able to make results and stick with them. Okay. The next thing to take in consideration is keep it simple, especially if you're somebody that's just starting out or you're somebody that is very busy or stressed. A lot of times when we have so many different things going on or we're feeling overwhelmed because we're a newbie, a big mistake that people make is just doing too much at once, trying to do all the things, trying to be perfect. One of the reasons why when people start trying to eat healthy and they go online, they look at all these recipes, and these recipes take like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, a long list of ingredients that they have to do that most people don't have the time to do every single meal. There are some people that enjoy cooking that way, but there's also some people like me who don't want to cook that way. I'd rather use my time and my effort to do other things in life. And so if you feel like you're not being consistent enough, simplify it. That's generally a really good starting point. But then from there, remember that you're an apprentice. If you're sitting here, it's because you're wanting to get better at meal planning. You are an apprentice right now. But soon, with some practice and some time, you'll become a chef. Remember, chefs say like the reason why they're great is because they break all the rules. They figured out what works best for them. But they didn't get this chef status out of nowhere. They started as apprentice. They kept things very simple. They mastered the basics. They put enough repetitions in that it was like second nature. And then once they did that, that's when they were able to break the rules. That's when they were able to build up and really personalize their approach to them. So I'm going to encourage you, especially if you're a newbie here, right? Keep in mind, when I first start out, it's going to be very, very simple. It's not going to be like this all the time. I'm going to be able to get fancy later on. I'm going to be able to like mix things up. But right now, I just need to learn the basics first. And then from there, the last one is remember that this is a skill, kind of like driving, right? For many of you guys, driving was probably overwhelming. You maybe had somebody in your corner to help guide you. But over a period of time, it got a little bit easier. You didn't grip the steering wheel so hard. It started becoming automatic. And now you're to the point you don't even have to think about it. You just do it. And that's because you learn the skill, you practice skill, you put that time in. So many people are like, I just don't want to think about it. I just want to do it. Well, if that's where you want to go, you have to understand that you have to treat this like any other skill that you learned. But this skill is a lot like driving. When you learn how to drive, it's so much easier for you to get to point A to point B. Your quality of life is significantly better because of it. It is worth your time and your investment to learn these skills. Same thing with meal planning. Same thing with learning how to do fitness, because it's going to help you get to point A to point B significantly faster, and your quality of life is going to be much higher. Now, let's get into how to create your own meal planning framework. So step number 1, really important, establish your routine. If you want to become that person that says, I don't have to think about it, I just do it, just like I was talking about before, you need a set routine. Because if you do not have a set routine, how are you supposed to make automated habits? How are you supposed to become that person that just does it if you don't put enough repetitions in? Routines actually make your life significantly easier because enough repetitions in, it becomes second nature, kind of like muscle memory. So everybody's routine is going to be completely different than somebody else because everybody's life is different. Everybody's priorities are different. Some have kids, some don't. So it's your responsibility to make sure that you're taking a step back and assessing the routine. Is this realistic? Can I be consistent at this? Am I able to put this in my calendar? So this is actually an example of what I do. This is what works for me. What I do is on Thursdays, I sit down and I do my whole meal planning framework. I get all of that done, all situated. I know my grocery list, everything. On Fridays, I go grocery shopping. Okay. Whether I'm going to the store or another option is you can do grocery pickup. We personally do Instacart. It really does save us a lot of time and effort. And then Saturday and or Sunday, I leave it 2 days. I can do it just Saturday. I can just do it Sunday. I can do half and half, but it also allows me to adapt and adjust. What if I have an event on Saturday? Then I'm going to put on Sunday. What if I have an event on Sunday? I'm going to put it on Saturday. What if I have 2 things on Saturday? I'll do a little bit here and majority of it on Sunday, or vice versa. You see how it allows me to be flexible and adaptable? It gives me some wiggle room to help me live my life. This is my go-to routine. Okay. So coming up with your own routines is going to be super helpful. Another one is going to be meal. If you're somebody that likes to mix things up a little bit more, you don't want to eat the same thing throughout the week. For me personally, I don't care. I can eat the same thing throughout the week. It doesn't bother me, but I'm very boring when it comes to food. For some people, they need more enjoyment. Like I work with people that are total foodies. I've worked with chefs before. And so they have to change the routine that suits them, that allows them to be consistent and actually enjoy the process as well. So another thing to take in consideration is that you can meal plan on Sundays and Wednesdays. You can go grocery shopping on those days as well. And then the next day you can meal and food prep. Step number 2 is now we're going to get to structuring your meals. So if you have your piece of paper out, this is where we're going to bring it out. Okay. The first question you need to answer is how many meals are you going to consistently eat every day and still hit your goals. So for example, some people will eat 4 meals. Some people will eat 3 meals and a snack. Some people will eat 5 meals. How many meals that you eat really doesn't matter. It doesn't. What does matter is, what are you going to be consistent in? Some people really enjoy 3 big old meals. Some people really enjoy smaller meals. Some people with their schedule can only do 2 meals and 2 snacks. It depends on the person. So take a step back and be like, okay, what is my structure? What is my routine? What is something that I can practice over and over again and be consistent at it, where it can be just second nature eventually? For me, it's typically 4 meals. And then what you're going to do on the piece of paper is make quadrants. Okay, so if it's 3 meals, 3 big meals, make 3 different quadrants. If it's 3 meals and a snack, make 4 quadrants. For the purpose of this, I want you to consider snacks as smaller meals. Once you have that on your piece of paper, it should only take a couple seconds, we go into the next step. We're going to build your meals, but I'm going to guide you through how to know exactly what you're going to be putting on your plate and the amounts of it. Okay, this is going to be so simple, but very, very effective. Like this is exactly what I do. I've been doing this for freaking like almost a decade, and I love it. Teach it all my clients as a starting point, and then again, they build off of it and become a chef status. But this is an awesome starting point for somebody, and or if you're busy or you just don't want to think about it, you want to keep it as simple as possible. This is a really, really good go-to. So let's go over your meals. How should I be building my meals? We're going to call it complete meals. That's what we call it here at Thriving On, is building your complete meal. And so with your complete meal, what it is every single time that you sit down, you have a protein, you have veggies, you have carbs, and you have fat. Okay. Now, caveat to this is sometimes there are meals that just doesn't make sense to have veggies in it. Like I have a go-to Greek yogurt bowl. I'm not going to be throwing broccoli in there. That's weird. Right. But if I have a smoothie, I throw in like frozen spinach, like wherever I can. But if I have a meal that doesn't have veggies, I just want to make sure that it's high fiber. The reason why we want complete meals is, one, when you have well-balanced meals like that, you have proteins, fats, carbs, fiber, it just really makes a well-balanced diet that improves your body composition. It makes it mindless towards working towards a well-balanced diet. It keeps you fuller longer as well, eating those big meals rather than little snackies here, like eating an apple here and a handful of almonds or 2 hard-boiled eggs. Gosh, that's miserable. I want to eat a meal. I want to feel satiated, and that's going to keep me full for 3 to 5 hours. That seems so much more enjoyable than snackies here and there. It also is going to help regulate your blood sugar if you're somebody that really wants to work on that. You're going to have even energy throughout the day. Improves your internal health as well for people that are just trying to become healthier as a person, your digestion, your hormonal health, your blood work, trying to prevent chronic disease because it runs in the family. Complete meals, super easy way to do that. It also improves your overall quality of food. It reduces mindless snacking and late night weekend overeating, because you're eating consistently throughout the day. You're not starving yourself and all of a sudden eating everything in sight. You're getting that structure of evenly eating throughout the day, which really does help prevent overeating in the long run. And it just makes meal planning extremely simple. It is just a good framework. You just plug and play. Super easy. So going over the traits of it again is having a protein, fat, a carb, and a veggie every single time you eat, majority of the time. It doesn't have to be every single meal, but majority of the time. You also want to lean towards minimally processed, nutrient-dense foods, okay? With our own clients, we have a list of eat more, eat some, eat less. We don't demonize food. We also don't say it's off limits. We want to live our life too. We want to have a great relationship with food, but we have to understand that we need to lean towards more nutrient dense foods majority of the time, just for us to feel great and be healthy and reach our goals, right? And then we just need to adjust our portions to our nutrition goals. Some examples for protein sources are going to be eggs, chicken, pork, Greek yogurt. We want to stay a little bit leaner side of things for the protein sources. Some veggies is like broccoli, cauliflower, onions, celery, carrots, you name it. There's a whole long list of different vegetables that you can get after. Change up the colors. It's good for you. We also have complex carbohydrates. These are carbohydrates that are going to have more fiber in it. It also is really great for your internal health, keeping you full and so much more. So we've got like fruits, potatoes, we got whole grains, lentil pasta, quinoa, and then we got some healthy fats to throw in there too. So that's things like olive oil. We got chia seeds, flax seeds. And then I know some of you guys were talking about, hey, I want to keep it nice and simple, but I also want it to taste good. Okay, here's the thing that's going to piece it all together where you're going to be able to make it simple, eat healthy foods, but not hate what you eat, is get really good at adding some flavor at the end. Add a ton of seasoning. Add some low calorie or no calorie sauces. Add some garnishes. If you've ever had a meal and just thrown some like fresh garlic or even minced garlic in there, some salt and pepper, oh, that alone just elevates the taste. If you've ever been to Trader Joe's and seen their seasoning section, oh my gosh, it is just like an easy gateway to just awesome food because I have so many different concoctions and different flavors that can elevate your food. So get really good at this. I know that a lot of people come from a place of bland food. Maybe they eat chicken, broccoli, and rice 24/7, and all they did was just add a little bit of pepper on it. Of course, you're going to hate your food at that point. Add some flavor, have some fun, trial and error, mix things up. You got to bridge the gap between putting your big girl and big boy pants on and getting shit done, but also having fun with it, enjoying it. Because if we enjoy it more, we find fulfillment through it, we're going to look forward to it more. Therefore, we're going to be more consistent. So here's some examples right here. First example is, okay, so we got a lean protein source right here. We got a flank steak. We've got roasted broccolini. Maybe putting that in the air fryer. We got sweet potato. Maybe we baked it in the oven. Or if you're lazy like me, we nuke it in the microwave really fast or in the air fryer. We've got extra virgin olive oil. Maybe we put that on top of the roasted broccolini. That would count as our fat. And then to make it taste great, we put some salt, pepper, garlic, and some dried rosemary. Oh, put some dried rosemary on top of a steak like that. Love that. Another one is, let's say, 2% Greek yogurt. That's your protein source. We can have maybe a handful of carrots on the side. If we don't want to do that, maybe for like our fiber, it could be like chia seeds. Chia seeds has a ton of fiber in it. We can add that in there to help out with that. Our carbs is going to be a combination between granola and berries. And then we've got almond butter as the fat source. To make it taste even better, we've add a little bit of stevia in there. Maybe you can add some honey into it. Just drizzle it a little bit. Something that's not going to take too much of your calorie bank, but enough to give it a really great taste. Another one is going to be like eggs and egg whites, adding that together. Your fat is, if you use eggs, I would count that as your fat source. It's fantastic for you, by the way. The yolk has so many nutrients in there. It's so good for you. Eat the yolk. But just a little tidbit, we're going to count that as our fat. And we're also going to use olive oil spray. Okay, so that's going to count as our fat too. We're going to have whole grain toast as our carb, and we're going to saute some peppers and onions and make like an omelet out of it. And then we're going to add some salt, pepper, and oregano in there to make it taste really good. Even hot sauce. I'm a big fan of hot sauce. So then what we do on our piece of paper, once we create our meals, right, with our complete meals, we know our protein source, we know our fat source, we know our carb source, we know our flavorings and seasonings that we want to do. We write it out on that piece of paper. Meal 1, this is what I have. Meal 2, this is what I have. Meal 3 and meal 4. We got that game plan. We know what we're going to be eating. Then step number 3, let's figure out our nutrition goals. So that way we can figure out portion sizes. So the first thing that we want to do with our nutrition goals is evenly breaking them up amongst all our meals. Just evenly breaking it up amongst all of those meals is a really great way to start. Over a period of time, you'll be able to break the rules, shift things up to make sure that you're still totaling to the end. But again, if you're somebody that really struggles with it, keep it really simple. Just break it up evenly. So here are some examples. If you are somebody who doesn't like to track, but you do want to use some type of portions, hand portions is amazing start. A lot of times we have clients coming to us and we give them hand portion sizes to start with. And so they have a total amount of like 5 palm sizes of portions of lean protein per day, 4 to 6 fist sizes of veggies every day. We want 7 cup handfuls of carbs every single day and 8 thumb size portions of healthy fat. They want to eat 4 meals here. So what they're going to do is aim for 1 to 2 palm sizes per meal for protein, 1 to 2 for veggies, 1 to 2 for carbs, and then 2 thumb sizes of fats per meal. What we want to do is make sure that it totals up to 5, totals up to 4 to 6, totals up to 7, totals up to 8 at the end of the day. So we can break it up evenly every single meal. If you're somebody that just tracks your calories, you love eating 3 meals, that works for you. 2,000 divided by 3. What you're going to do is aim between maybe 650 to 700 calories or 600 to 700, whatever's going to be consistent for you. Let's say that you're somebody that's just tracking protein in fruits and vegetables. That's also a really great way to get started too. Your goal is like 150 grams of protein, 800 grams of fruits and vegetables. Then what you're going to do is take 150 divided by 5. Just make sure that you get 30 grams of protein every single time that you eat. Okay. And then if you have 800 grams of fruits and vegetables, you just need to make sure that you're getting 160 grams of fruits and vegetables by every single meal. So that way you can hit that goal by the end of the day. That seems more digestible. Let's take Judy here. Judy's got the goal of flexible tracking. She has a calorie goal. She has a protein range. Okay. She eats 4 times a day and she loves doing 3 meals in one snack. So breaking it up, what she's going to do is one snack. She wants it a little bit lower. She wants to allocate a little bit more here, but it's still going to total up at the end of the day to her goals. Every single meal, she wants to get anywhere from 25 to 35 grams of protein. And if she totals all of this up, it's going to hit her goals. And that's her structure right there. Then the next step is going to be track or estimate your portions. For those of you who are tracking, a really simple way is now you have the structure on a piece of paper. Now you know that how many meals you're going to be eating. Now what you're going to do is start plugging it into your tracking app. So that way it totals to the goals that you're trying to work with. Okay. So we have the complete meal. We have the structure. We're going to put that in there. And Judy, what she's going to try to do is hit 25 grams of protein and about 350 calories, which she did. Her protein, figured out she needs to hit about 175 grams Greek yogurt, 20 grams of nut butter. She put about 150 grams of blueberries in there. And then she put 10 grams of chia seeds for that extra fiber. And she totaled that up. She'll do the same thing with her other meals. She'll take that template that she wrote on a piece of paper, plug it into her tracking app. And so that way she gets her portion sizes, which is going to be super important for the next step. Okay. Now you can start creating your grocery list based off of this. And this is the really important part because this is what's going to reduce you having to go to the grocery store again or buying things you don't need or things going bad and wasteful because you know exactly how much you need and when based off of your routine and what you planned for the week. So for example, if one of your meals, you know that you need 4 ounces of chicken for that serving and you're the type of person that doesn't mind rinse and repeating, multiply 7. Now you know to go get 28 ounces of chicken for the week. If you're somebody who doesn't like to eat the same thing every single day, there's a lot of people that love variety. And that's perfectly okay. You're learning what works best for you. That's not bad. But what we do need to do is lean into what is that routine that supports the variety that you're looking for, bridging the gap between what you like to do, but what can you actually be consistent at? Sometimes we do have to pull our big girl and big boy pants up and get the thing done. But again, anytime that we can leverage us actually enjoying it, the more likely that we're going to be consistent. Then from there, that's when you go grocery shopping. Now you have what you need. Now you have the game plan. Reduce waste, reduce time, effort, confusion. So the next thing that we're going to go into is best practices. Some tips just kind of bring it all together. First one is choose your prepping style. Okay, you don't have to meal prep. You don't have to make individual meals every single time that you're eating all the time. For a lot of people, that's really repetitive and people don't enjoy that. Instead, what you can do is do food prepping instead. Make things in more of a larger quantity. So for example, I'm going to have lean ground beef. I'm going to have Greek yogurt. I'm going to have chicken. I'm going to have protein powder. Okay. Well, now you can mix and match all these different foods. You've got your proteins, maybe the carbs is quinoa, potatoes, maybe your favorite tortillas. You can mix and match things. One day you can have ground beef with potatoes and avocado and green beans. The next day you can take that ground beef and make tacos because you have the tortillas. Right? The next day you're going to have chicken that's going to be more of a Mediterranean Greek style with roasted vegetables and quinoa underneath it. The next day you can take that same chicken and make something different. Right? It allows you to be more flexible and adaptable when you're food prepping. You can mix things up a little bit more. I tend to prefer to do food prepping, but a lot of times I do a hybrid approach. There are meals that I absolutely love that I will eat on repeat. Half the time, I will do food prepping, and then I have my meals that I will be eating on repeat. The other thing to take in consideration is that there are some times during the day where you can piece things together, maybe first thing in the morning or at night or midday when you come home from work, where there's also going to be times where you can't really do that. So maybe meal prepping those meals where you're on the go. Maybe it's lunch when you're at work, and you leave it a little bit more freeform at dinner. So you see, you don't have to just do one or the other. Think of these as tools in your toolbox, and you can piece these together to figure out a routine that allows you to be consistent with your schedule, the time that you have, but also aligns with your preferences and goals. The next thing is have a plan A, B, and C. Okay. A lot of times what people do is they create one routine. If that's the only routine that they have, if life changes or it doesn't go according to the plan, they've got nothing else. And then you start getting into this all or nothing thinking, right? Well, if I can't do this, I'm just not going to do it at all. It doesn't allow you to be flexible and adaptable. Like we were talking about before, that is a huge thing that you need to have to be consistent. So have a routine for cruise control. Hey, I'm home a lot more, right? I'm going to food prep more. I'm going to have a little bit more fun. Maybe when I meal plan 75% of the day rather than the whole day, right? Maybe I leave dinner a little bit more open because I have more time versus a week that's more high effort. You got stuff to do. Then have a different routine. Maybe you meal prep more meals. Maybe you have things completely planned out a little bit more. Maybe you order meal prep. And then the last one, plan C, shit hits the fan. It's one of those days. It's one of those weeks. What is your routine? What is it that you're going to fall back on? For me, when crap hits the fan and I got nothing else, I rely on meal prep company. If I'm in that oh crap moment, I'm going to be eating out a lot. And that's way more expensive than meal prep companies. If I'm going to spend the money, I might as well spend it on something that's going to be slightly cheaper, but also make me feel better. But it's not an everyday thing. It's those oh crap, the plan C moments. The other thing is adapt and adjust. What routine that you do now may not serve you later. Maybe you moved or you got a new job. Maybe you're commuting more. Maybe your kids started school again. What you did during the summer doesn't really work now. Be willing to tweak a routine. Be willing to adapt and adjust. Just like you evolve as a person, just like your life changes, your approach needs to adapt and adjust with you accordingly. And then take imperfect action. It will never be perfect. There's going to be days where you're going to be like, this did not go according to plan, but we're going to do something. You best bet I'm going to just pick the best options in front of me. It's about sucking less little by little every single day. Nobody's perfect. Expect it. Understand it. Don't fall into that perfectionist mindset of like, either it goes like this or I don't do anything at all. Find the happy medium. The more that you do this, the more that you have this growth mindset, you can tell that over a period of time, you're going to go up versus a perfectionist mindset. You're not going anywhere and you're putting all this effort just to go like this, right? So take imperfect action. Expect that it's not going to be perfect, and that's perfectly okay. That's human. It's part of the experience. And then from there, find your moderation and balance. You do need to eat more nutrient-dense foods, but you also need to live your life. That means eating food that you actually enjoy, going out to dinner night, maybe having a glass of wine every once in a while, eating a damn cookie. Please do it. Live your life. Why else do this but to live your best life? It's about finding that moderation of where can I live my life while still taking care of myself. And that's a little bit different for everybody, but find moderation. Encourage you to do that. Don't go 0 to 100 like this, where most people think healthy eating is that I'm only going to eat healthy foods. But then all of a sudden, Wednesday, they can't do it anymore. Then they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to get right back on it. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they're trash panda mode. And it's just rinse and repeat. I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to start on Monday and start on Monday. Instead, take a more moderation approach. It looks like this. Some days are 60, some days are 80, some days are 100. But at the end of the week, they balance them out. And you can see that they're giving themselves permission to drink a glass of wine or eat some freaking ice cream, having fun with their kids. Like nobody wants to be that person and be like, no, mommy can't do ice cream because it doesn't fit into my points or my meal plan. That's not living your life. That's going to be very hard for you to be consistent. You want to find a routine that you can do while maybe if your goal is dieting, but also outside of that. Otherwise, you have an end date. You get on the other side, what's next? What's going to happen? You're going to go back to what you're doing before. So the routine that you're doing during a dieting should still apply when you're not dieting. That way it can be long-term. Rule of thumb, right? Something to remember is Meg's fabulous figure stopped missing fries. This is by Alan Aragon, and it's a really simple way to understand how to create moderation for most people. It stands for meats, fruits, fibrous vegetables, starches, milk, and dairy, if your stomach can allow it. Fats, pick 3 to 4 of each. Put that in your grocery list or put that in your meal planning as you're doing that. And 1 to 2 of your favorites. Maybe it's like, hey, I'm going to have these mini ice cream cones from Trader Joe's. I'm going to fit it into my nutrition. Or another one could be like chicken nuggets. right? I got chicken nuggets and sweet potato fries in my fridge. That's part of my 1 to 2 things. Have fun with your life, but create that moderation. To wrap it up, you can contact me for any questions. You can follow me on at Thriving on Casey. That's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Also, my email is going to be casey@thriving-on.com. Another thing that you can do is listen to our podcast. It's called Logically Fit. We put a lot of really great information out there. Obi and I do that together, and it's just freaking knowledge bombs 24/7. And if you are looking for some type of support, the big premise of Thriving On is that we want to teach you how to do this on your own. We don't want you here forever. We want you to be independent. We want you to have that confidence that you can do this for the rest of your life and you don't need a coach again. So if you want to work with us and take that approach with your health and fitness, we've got one-on-one coaching through nutrition, fitness, and both nutrition and fitness. And something that's coming soon is the TO Collective. Think of that as like a collaborative group coaching program. It's going to be like a semi-personalized coaching, much more affordable, but we're going to feed off each other in a collective format to help each other become the CEO of your health. It's coming soon. So now what we're going to do is get into a point where we're going to collaborate together now. Okay, so get your fingers ready.